Hey, what's up, house groups? We're in week 2 of the series, How to Start a Decade. And the question we're talking about this week is, who are my people? Like, who am I with and who's with me? And I think that's a really important question for us to ask ourselves on a regular basis, because one of the best ways we can know where our future is headed is like the choices we make and the people we choose. And we live in a society that tells us the people we choose part isn't always that important. We're just tempted to go it alone and try and be self-sufficient and self-reliant, not just in life, but in faith sometimes too. You know, we talk about my personal faith and my personal spiritual journey, and then we crack open the Bible and I think God tells us, there's no such thing. You know, it is personal, and each one of us has our own journeys that we're on, like from where we are to who God has us to be, and from where we are towards God. But the Bible tells us that the idea that we can go on that journey alone is just impossible, because God built us to do life in community. He calls us not just to himself, but to his people. And any journey from where we are and who we are to who God has us to be is a journey that we have to go on alongside God's people, to God's people, because part of the way he knit us together, part of the way he created us, part of the way he built us to do life is that he wired up every single one of us with unique characteristics and unique giftings, not for our own benefit, but for the benefit of the people around us. We need each other. We need the gifts that everybody brings to the table in order to be full, in order to be whole, in order to get the most out of life. We got to connect with people who can be for us what we can't be for ourselves, who can do for us what we can't do for ourselves. We are social beings, built to do life and faith in community. So we got to ask, who are my people? Because when we figure that out, everything about life and faith is better. And this is one of the areas where it's so cool. Science has finally caught up to what the Bible is teaching, even in the middle of the radically individualistic society of the United States of America. In the middle of the last century, some scientists developed what they know, or what they termed the Rosetto effect. They studied this community in the small town of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, to try and figure out why people there weren't dying the way they should be dying. It was a town that had been originally settled by Italian immigrants, and this little community of people went 10 years without a man under 65 having a heart attack. And they weren't exactly health nuts in Rosetto. There were a bunch of good old Italians. They hand-rolled their own stogies, they ate fried food and meatballs and sausages, and they smoked and they drank a ton of wine, and they did manual labor jobs in these quarries that were making everybody else sick, and they just kept not dying. And so for decades, doctors and scientists studied this population, and they came to realize that the only thing different about their lives was the fact that they lived in this really tight-knit community. They all sat out on their front porches. Multiple generations lived together, and it was a town where everybody knew everybody. And it sounds kind of stifling almost, especially those of us who are Scandinavian Midwesterners, and we like to keep everybody at an arm's length. But to know and be known, the scientific study showed, cut the death rate in half. There are these unhealthy diet, unhealthy habits, people who cut their death rate in half because they knew and they were known. And God says, yeah, that's how I built you. And so I think for all of us, we got to ask and answer that question. Who are my people? Who are the people that are building me up? Who are the people that are encouraging me? Who are the people that are using their gifts to bless me? Who are the people that are pulling me toward Jesus? Who are the people that are making my life and my faith better? And then we need to adjust our calendars accordingly. That's what the upshot of the question is for me. Does my schedule reflect that those are my people, that those are the people I need to be around because they fill me up and they make my life better? And if it doesn't, when I'm going it alone, or when I'm retreating, and when I'm trying to do life and faith by myself, when that happens, can I adjust? Am I adjusting my schedule to plug in to my people? Because I don't want to be robbed of their presence, and I don't want to rob them of the gifts that God has given me. So my challenge to all of us this week is to ask that question, who are my people? And then adjust our calendars accordingly.